Hi, this is John Lee, also known as Darth Furby on the Lost Marble Anime Studio forums, and in this series of video tutorials I'm going to tell you everything I know about animation so that ultimately you'll be able to do something like this. And all you really need to know how to do is draw a stick figure. You don't have to be a great artist in order to animate well. You have to be a great artist in order to animate pretty pictures. But in order to animate well, all you need to do is draw a stick figure. That's it. And I'm going to prove it to you in this series of video tutorials where I'll tell you everything I know. Now, the first thing you need is an animation program. If you have something like Flash, great. But you can also download a free 2D animation program at www.pencil-animation.org. Or use your 2D animation program of choice. But your program must have onion skinning, which allows you to see the previous frame and the next frame, and you ideally should have a Wacom tablet or some kind of tablet where you can draw into the program. Or you could use pencil and paper and do it the old-fashioned way, but I prefer to do things digitally. Alright, so the first concept that I want to talk about in this video is the idea of ease in and ease out. Or another way of saying that is going fast to slow or slow to fast. And I'll demonstrate that with a ball. Alright, so I'm on frame 1 right now. And we'll draw a ball on the left side of the screen, like so. And we want to have it travel to the right side of the screen. So I'm going to move the ball all the way to the right. And as you can see, the onion skinning effect here is it shows you frame 1 with this light gray outline, and it shows us our current frame in a dark outline. And you absolutely have to have an onion skinning ability in order to learn how to animate. I can't stress that enough, and you'll see why very soon. Okay, so I want to put a bunch of frames in between these two positions. Alright, so I just inserted about 8 keyframes there. Go back to frame 1. I'm going to copy this ball. It saves me time from having to redraw it from frame to frame. So on frame 1, I'm now going to frame 2. And this is what a lot of beginners do. They just randomly place the ball along the path without any thought to spacing or timing. They just want to get from point A to point B, and they think that's all it takes to animate. I'm just going to remove 2 frames here, save some time. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. So you can see the ball animating. It's moving from left to right. But it's monotonous and boring. There's no timing. It's not dynamic at all. And this is something that a lot of beginners do. This is what I did for years, and I was frustrated to no end because I couldn't figure out how those guys at Disney or any cartoon that you'd see on TV, how they got them to animate in a way that looked fluid and interesting, you know? And the way they did that is by controlling their spacing of the ball. So I'm going to clear frames here and erase all those frames in between and start all over, but this time I'm going to apply timing. Specifically, I'm going to move this ball very quickly, going from fast to slow. So this would be ease in. It's easing in to its final destination. So let's go to frame 2, and instead of placing it where we did last time, we're going to place it in the middle. Just divide the distance in half between where you're starting to where you want to go. So let's go to frame 3, divide the distance in half again. Go to frame 4, divide the distance in half again, in half again, in half again, and in half again. And you notice that the spacing between these balls are getting closer and closer together as we move from frame to frame, and that'll have the effect of making the ball appear to move slower as it approaches its final destination on the right. The further apart that you space these drawings, the faster it'll appear to move across the stage. So from frame 1 to frame 2, we have the fastest movement. And from the second to last frame to the last frame, we have the slowest movement. So let's see what that looks like. See, it's going fast to slow, fast to slow. And that's it. So practice animating from fast to slow or slow to fast just by dividing the distance in half, as you just saw me do. And I highly recommend keeping your project at 12 frames per second. That's less to keep track of, less drawings to do, and each frame has more impact. So it's easy to experiment and quickly see how it affects your animation. As opposed to doing something like 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second, aside from the fact that you have to spend more time doing more drawings, the effect of changing one frame won't be nearly as much as the effect of changing one frame in a 12 frame per second project. So I highly recommend 12 frames per second. It's faster and you learn more. And you can see the difference of your changes. So that's it. Ease in, ease out, slow to fast or fast to slow. Once you understand how to do that, you'll be using that in your animations all the time. So I don't know how many video lessons I'll be doing, but I'll keep doing them until I feel like I've covered everything. But this is the first lesson. I understand it's very basic, but if you're a beginner, this is the one thing you need to know how to do in order to cross that boundary from someone who's trying to animate to someone who can animate. And that's the first thing that I figured out before I became comfortable with animation. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is John Lee. You can find me at www.darthfurby.com or also at the Lost Marble Anime Studio forums. Okay, so thanks for watching and take care.